Speaking of that, yesterday, Michael Schnell, the Speaker of the House, that lined up with the President of the United States when you caught up with him and suggested that members of Congress should be indicted, arrested, indicted, jailed for exercising their First Amendment rights and restating what military code is. Were you surprised by that response? Is there any backlash from other members of Congress saying, what sort of precedent do you think you're setting that a president can just arrest us, have us arrested by his Justice Department because he doesn't like what we're saying?
Yeah, I mean, Joe, it's been just this fascinating comment from Speaker Johnson, the person who is in charge, the highest ranking lawmaker on Capitol Hill, in charge of the 435 members of the House, 4 of whom had filmed that video, and then alongside the 100 senators, 2 of whom were in that video as well. And for the Speaker's knee-jerk reaction to learning this news and commenting to be that those members, again, 4 of whom work under him, under his ranks in the House, that they should be indicted. I'll play the audio for you, and then we can talk about it on the other side. And just to put into context, this was on Monday night, literally just minutes after this extraordinary news story had broken that the grand jury had rejected indicting these 6 Democrats. I caught up with the Speaker in the halls of the Capitol, and I asked him, do you believe they should be indicted? And he said yes. I listened to him in his own words here.
Federal prosecutors tried to indict the 6 Democrats in the disobey illegal orders video, but a grand jury in Washington rejected that. Do you believe that those 6 Democrats should be indicted?
I'm going to reserve comment on this until I review that. That's the first I've heard of it. I mean, look, I think that anytime you're obstructing law enforcement and getting in the way of these sensitive operations, it's a very serious thing, and it probably is a crime, yeah, they probably should be indicted.
But they were just reiterating the law that members of the military should not have to obey illegal orders.
Yeah, but I think they went further than that. I think they were suggesting that they disobey the orders, and I think that crosses a line.
And now, look, guys, I'll note that Speaker Johnson yesterday spoke on the topic again and sort of tried to walk back a little bit, saying, does he believe that these lawmakers deserve to be in jail? No, but he does believe that the conduct should be called out as inappropriate. But again, I mean, let's set the scene. It's, as you mentioned, telling members of the military that they don't have to obey illegal orders. That's already the law. And if you hear Speaker Johnson, it's the law. He said that he hadn't heard about this story and he wants to reserve comment, but then he went ahead and did comment. And it was interesting that his knee-jerk reaction was to side with President Trump on this issue that has been center stage for weeks now in Washington, that's been explosive in the Capitol, that was his decision to align himself with the president. I'll note that there have been some Republicans who have pushed back. We heard from Thom Tillis yesterday, the Republican from North Carolina, senator, who said that, that political lawfare should not be right in any circumstance, essentially saying he was relieved that the grand jury had rejected these charges. Senator Lisa Murkowski said similar things. And even Chuck Grassley, who is the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, which has jurisdiction over the Department of Justice, said that the department should be focused on taking out real criminals and, essentially saying that these 6 Democrats are not within that category, but just certainly a fascinating response there from the Speaker. Again, his immediate knee-jerk reaction to side with the president. It just shows that there's such little room these days between most members of Congress, Republicans up on Capitol Hill, and President Trump.
It's so sad and pathetic that he's so scared of one man that he's willing to say that people he works with in Congress should be sent to jail for restating the law.
Think about
MS
that.
Now, congressional reporter Michael Schnell, thank you so much. And by the way, the Speaker is saying, John Meacham, we're going to thank you too. Hey,
Thanks,
John,
Meacham.
listen, I don't know what your schedule is, but on President's Day on Monday, why don't you come join me and talk about your 3 or 4 favorite presidents, including the one you're working on right now, one of my favorites.
Love it. Love it. And that will, I know the audience is now really excited about this. And so they're probably blocking out the morning. And Mika looks like she's just about to go crazy with joy.
Well,
fabulous.
My feeling is it's President's Day, and I think people that watch should be able to turn on our show and sleep through it at the same time. And so
You're perfect.
We would love for you. Come on the whole 4 hours. That
You're
would be
perfect.
great to have you.
Look, it's a dork Super Bowl, and I think we should all be tuned.
Yes.
Yeah, it's our version of the
Quite
Puppy
an
Bowl.
alternative to Bad
All right.
Bunny.
Thank you so much, John. But again, the speaker, his gut reaction to try to get in the good graces of Donald Trump is to say, members who work with him should go to jail. Senators should go to jail for restating what the military law is. What the military says the military law is. Restating what Pete Hegseth said repeatedly on Fox News before he worked for Donald Trump. What Pam Bondi put in a legal briefing a year before she became Attorney General, for stating the obvious. And again, stop and think about this. Pam Bondi's Justice Department tried to arrest members of Congress for restating a law that Donald Trump doesn't like.
You know, he didn't
Really?
even have to answer.
I mean, that's really how you want to spend your time in Washington? Because this will be remembered. Yeah. This is, and I just want to say it again, this is just a blip in time. Like Reagan's 8 years, like Obama's 8 years, like Bush's 8 years. We think back on it, blip in time. But we remember those who held themselves high, and we remember those who shamed themselves. Please, please think about what you're doing, not only to your country, but what you're doing to your political party, which is suffering because of this, and what you're doing to your own reputation. You don't need this.